Thanks so much for chatting with me today, Mary. I'd like to ask you some questions about your career in IT asset management. How long have you been with Ray Allen, and what is your current role?
I've been with Ray Allen for about 10 years, and my current role is Vice President of Service Delivery at Ray Allen.
Wonderful. So, how did you begin your career, and how did you become interested in this field?
So I began my career at Ray Allen about 10 years ago, so in November of 2011. The role I started in was a data support role. At the time, we were a really small company, so I believe I was the 10th employee. I actually had never been in this industry. Prior to this, I was in the banking world. But when I came into the job market, it was peak recession time. So I had very limited options in terms of the types of positions that actually paid a salary. A lot of it was commission based. So really at the time, it was a Craigslist posting for those of you that even know what Craigslist is. But, you know, found this role in my prior position. I was pretty good at Excel, knew a few functions. So that helped me in terms of the skill sets that they required for the data support role. But that's really how I started out my career. But again, IT asset management wasn't something I knew about. So, but certainly learned it quite a bit throughout the years. So I can't necessarily say it was something that I became interested in. It more so was something I fell into, to be honest. So.
Yeah, fell into and stayed for 10 years. That's pretty amazing.
Right.
And it's interesting how things have changed, right? With Craigslist being a place you could find a job like this. And
yeah.
So coming back to present day, what are your main responsibilities in your current role? And what is a typical day or week like for you?
Sure. So I oversee about 5 different programs within Rayon and 5 different departments. So I have a team of 5 managers that report directly into me. Those teams vary from renewal management to customer success teams to our high volume MACD organization to quoting teams to renewal sales teams and some specific kind of POV like programs that we've implemented with two partners that we have. So definitely varying roles and functions without the company, but fundamentally all of them have asset management, as part of their core, which is ultimately who we are as an organization. Outside of just management responsibilities, I do work to budget plan for our teams, to review any staffing requirements that we may need to grow our team. I work closely with our different managers on what the strategy for our overall department should be. I also work on revenue forecasting for, again, our team does manage a very large percentage of the overall revenue for the company. So I also work closely with our sales leadership to just align to what kind of type of revenue we're seeing for the year. We certainly also look at different governance areas for the teams. And then, I certainly get involved in certain sales conversations. I think it's always important that you have the delivery organization there to really tell you what we can do and how we can really take the customer to the element of being operational with our services. And I think the final thing is that is probably the most important to me is also working on different org health initiatives for our employees. So if it is, how do we get them, better training, or how do we, do different types of events for them or incentivize them in certain ways to continue to support our employees as best as we can in this new environment of remote working that we're in. So quite a few different areas. It sounds like a lot, but honestly, there's a lot of overlap there. And so that helps me stay organized in trying to do my day-to-day work. And again, the good thing about it is that every day is different. So I'm never really bored. So that's good.
That is good. That is good.
Yeah.
And that does sound like a lot. So I'm glad that there's some overlap.
Yeah.
Knowing that, So what skills and personality traits do you deem essential for your role to having with
Um,
everything that you have to do?
yeah, I would say that, it's something that I've certainly learned throughout the years is that I definitely need to be agile and be able to adapt as things change because it is an ever evolving environment, not just from like our teams, but just the industry, the way it evolves. Like we have to constantly be able to adapt to those changes. I also feel that I am pretty resourceful. So if I don't know the answer to something, I always kind of try to figure it out. I'm very solution oriented as well, which is also really important for this role. We have with very large teams like this, things can change right away. We can, have challenges that we need to mitigate immediately. So being able to, think of a solution rather than just react to the problem, I think is really also important in this role. You also definitely have to be really driven, um, and quite resilient. We face escalations, we may face, certain pushback. We really do need to remain resilient in those situations and continue to address it very professionally. Um, and I'd say just also in general, I'm very proactive and very passionate about this industry. I never thought I would again because I fell into the role, but however corny it might sound, I'm really passionate about asset management. And anytime I can go in and be able to look at a problem a client's having and come up with a solution and come up with a way how we can drive that forward, I think really just helps me, and has helped me throughout my career to become successful in the role, is just having passion for what we do.
Yeah, yeah. IT asset management is one of those fields that you don't realize is there. And then when you do, it can surprise you with how interesting it is and how there's
Right.
always something new happening. And so to zoom out to picture how work fits into your whole life, kind of see it as a whole, what hobbies do you have outside of work to help you keep that healthy work-life balance?
I would certainly say that, I on my weekends, I enjoy going out to restaurants, trying out new experiences, going to pop-ups or spray paint class, or like trying out new foods, trying out, different places with friends or with my fiance. I do like to also spend a lot of time with family, and just like I have nephews that live locally here, so I try to spend time with them. So wherever we can to like just kind of disconnect. I certainly also enjoy just binge watching any shows on Netflix, what have you. I think it's good sometimes just to do a mind numbing activity like that. So those are things I think that I do a good job of trying to keep the work life balance. I certainly had my challenges throughout the years of, not having a good work life balance. But I've found that when I do, I'm actually better at my job than
Mhm.
when I'm trying to do more than I can really take on. And then I think on just a volunteer standpoint, I am part of an organization called Resilience. They are a advocates for survivors of sexual assault. So I have, unfortunately, because of the pandemic, a lot of the the volunteer capacity has been limited. But that is another area that I am passionate about of trying to get back into. So again, my life is not just work and fun, but it's also trying to give back to the community as well.
Mhm. Wow. Well, you surely are inspiring, Mary, to me. I know of watching
Thank
you over
you.
the years and how hard you work and like you said, how you can tell your passion for this industry and your skills. And then also to have that healthy work-life balance is also very inspiring because it's hard to do. It's really hard to do. So, well, thank you so much for meeting with me today. It was great to hear about you and your career and everything that's going on. And have a great day.
All right,
Thanks
thanks,
so
Glenn.
much.